to the Cooler Women's Wellness Tribe, the podcast. Get comfortable, get your walking shoes on, and let's get going. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my very first episode of my podcast, The Cooler Women's Wellness. Just before we start, a little bit of an FYI. So you may or may not know this, but Cooler actually stands for tribe in Sanskrit, and this is exactly what I want to build here. A tribe of women who come to my podcast to listen to what I have to say. I'm planning on having lots of guests, as many as I can, and just a safe space so you feel like when you're tuning in, you are sat with your tribe, whether it's your girlfriend, family, people who get you. And this is my intention for the podcast. So hopefully that is what I can offer you. That is what I'm going to give you. For those of you that don't know me, I guess because it's episode 1, I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction, not too much, because I can save that for other episodes. So my name is Joanne. I'm from a little town / city, I guess, in England, United Kingdom. And yeah, I currently live in Dubai. So I've been in Dubai now for 7 years. So if you know me from Dubai or you've seen my Instagram and you're a bit like, oh, yeah, I'm from England. I moved here in 2016 as a school teacher. And I guess I always had other visions for myself. I never thought that I would stay a school teacher. I always sort of trying to think of a backup plan. It took 10 years for me to come up with my backup plan, but I did it. And I hope to inspire other women as well. I was going to say of a certain age, but not of a certain age, not in their 20s. So I'm not in my 20s and I made a complete career change, career shift. I did my yoga teacher training after I fell in love with yoga, which I started because I had a bad back. I wasn't really looking for yoga. Yoga found me. And I do think that the universe pushed me over on my roller skate so that I slipped 2 discs and I started yoga. And then this world of spirituality and dreams and goals and intentions and affirmations and just living a healthier, mentally cleansing lifestyle. And I know that I've always had this within me. I've always been a little bit hippie, trippy. My friends years ago would say hippie, trippy warrior princess, but she was sort of kept quiet. Like I would just talk to my friends about some of the weird and wonderful things that went on in my head, such as believing in unicorns and fairies. And so I kept a lid on it. But now I sort of am taking on this world and I speak to people who also believe in these magical things that no one else does. And it's amazing. And through this podcast, I want to reach out to other weird and wonderful and magical and witchy women who feel like they haven't or can't or not yet found their tribe. So this is a place for you to come, to listen to me talk and my friends talk and just feel safe. As part of my new business venture as well. So I did also qualify to be a women's health coach. And this is something that, again, has always been with me throughout my life. So I've always sort of been interested in hormones and how the body works and skincare and diet and standing up for women's rights and empowering women and trying to make all my friends come off these silly diets that they do and start weighing themselves. And, you don't need all that makeup and just really looking after themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So again, through this podcast, I hope to just bring it to more and more relatable audience, people that might think they're not woo-woo or they're not into that. Bring you to it to show you that you don't need to be woo-woo to follow some of these structures, follow some of these rituals, to follow the moon. You don't need to be a witch. You just need to be a woman. You just need to use your intuition and see how the moon is affecting your mood. If it doesn't, fair be it. If it does, amazing. Let's talk about it. So this is the kind of things I want to focus on and talk about throughout my podcast episodes. I have so many ideas. I feel like I'm just bursting. But today, one step at a time, we're just going to take it nice and easy. A little bit of an intro. What I do want to talk about today, because I want you to go away with having learned something, even if it's just one little thing about your cycle. So a lot of my job is based around helping women to look at their cycles and how to use their symptoms, their side effects. Some might call it PMS, all of those things, looking at those to see, right, what's coming up, first of all, and how we can live our life differently to stop these side effects if they're getting in the way. If they're not getting in the way, how we can use different tools to live with them. For example, I know when I am coming into 10 days to go to my bleed, because maybe I feel a bit ratty, or I need a bit of alone time, or I get a bit teary. Now, this doesn't get in the way of my life. I know now, because I know my body, what I need to do. I'll take myself off for a nap, something like a baby, or I go for a walk, or I tell my boyfriend, listen, this is coming up. I don't really feel like having a laugh and a joke. Leave me alone for an hour. Because I'm open with it and I share that, then he understands. If it's getting in the way of your life, the old me, I would be rationally angry, so angry. I couldn't even control it. And I am not an angry person. So it wasn't right. And it ruined my whole day, week, month. This is when we look at other things. So maybe changing diet, changing exercise routine. So we look at different areas of your cycle. So see the cycle as the backbone that I use to help coach women, see what we can change, see what we can add, see what we can take away so you can live your best life. What I'm just going to talk about today is one of the minimal things that I think women should know and have an understanding of. So our bodies, women's bodies, I'm guessing most people listening to this podcast will be a woman. Our bodies are so amazing, like amazing. And I think that all women should be able to see how amazing their bodies are. I know that women don't. I know that you see your cycles as a pain in the butt. I know that your thighs, bums, boobs, whatever, all of it is amazing, especially if you're a mum and you've breastfed. And I hear so many women like, oh, I haven't got my body back, boobs are saggy, breastfed. Like, how amazing is that? Like, you've used your body for what it is intended. So allowing women, I really want women to see just how amazing every single centimeter of skin actually is. Our periods are like the cherry on the cake. Like, it's so fascinating to me that every single month, like clockwork, if we're lucky, I'm just using this as an average, that the same thing happens. And it's actually a sixth vital sign. If your period is late, you know something's wrong. If your period is heavy, you could probably be something wrong. If you miss, or it's light, or it changes, we've literally got this inner little doctor, this inner little voice telling us something's not right, you need to change something. So this is all, I'll probably talk, but this is all of the things when over the years, not past few years, that I sort of absorb all of this information. And I just feel like now I'm just ready to let it all go. So the cycle, first of all, before I actually go into it, just have a little thing when you tell someone, oh, I'm on my cycle, what do you actually mean? And I'm guessing a lot of you are thinking, oh, it's when you have your period. Your cycle is your whole 28 to 32 days, depending on your own cycle. So I'm quite Lucky that mine is between 28 and 30, and it has been since I started working with my own body in 2014, maybe. I think my track year goes back to. And that gives me a good clue, a good insight to if anything is ever wrong. One of the first things that will tell me is my period. So the cycle is our whole cycle, the whole month, 28 to 30 days, 32 days, depending on, again, if you have questions about that, just drop me a message. So we can call it our moon, our period, our bleed. So I might switch interchangeably between those, but they all mean the same thing. So we can use our cycle, as I said, to our advantage just by tracking it, just by understanding a little bit about what's going on inside. I'm not going to teach you your GCSE science again here, just by having minimal information about what's going on inside, why you feel a certain way, how could you feel, what could you do to help it. It's also amazing that if you're listening to this and you're on a pill or you don't have a period for any reason, you can still use the moon. So we'd call it a moon cycle. So the new moon, you would count as the first day of your bleed. So as I'm going through this, so think your first day of the new moon is your bleed, and then we have the first quarter, second quarter. So a lot of the ideas that I have here, because we have not made these up. This is from my research over the years, reading books and books. One book that I will recommend is Period Power by Maisie Hill. She is a British writer, English, and she does not disappoint. She explains everything so well. So a lot of the ideas I'm sharing with you today are from my own research, and as well as some of the labels that she uses, which are pretty consistent among women's wellness coaches. So let's look at the cycle. So you have your cycle, 28 days. We can split this up into 4. Does that sound familiar? The same as the year. If you live in certain countries, like Dubai, not so much. So we have winter, spring, summer, and autumn. Just by understanding that we can split these up into 4, or should already you have a click to think, you change from week to week. It's normal. As women, it is normal that we feel different week to week, day to day. Our first part of our cycle is our winter. So again, all the days and numbers that I'm giving here are just rough based on 28-day cycle. Days 1 to 7, your winter. So your winter is the first day of your cycle. This is when you begin bleeding. A little bit of science, estrogen and progesterone are beginning to decline. So they are going down. This is why we are tired. Some of you may experience intense exhaustion, but other symptoms at this time, which we may pick up, like bloating and breast tenderness, they also start to go down because they're fueled by hormones. Some of you may know when you're going to bleed. Some of you may feel your intuition with this, like you wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to get my period today. Others don't. Others might not know until it comes, or you have a little bit of cramping. Again, all of this is different person to person. And this is why speaking to a coach or joining group coaching programs is so you can speak to other women, see what they experience, and understand that everybody is different, literally everybody. Okay, so you're feeling whether or not you're getting your period. Again, depends on how in tune you are. So I'm pretty much in tune. So I could have symptoms. So like the other day, I saw something and I wanted to cry, or was it a song around day 8? So I checked my app, day 8. Once your period begins to take hold, it's not uncommon to also experience a feeling of bliss. Now, I do get this. I feel amazing once my period has come. Now, there's pain relieving hormones like oxytocin and endorphins, they are all released. This is why you may feel more emotional, not only emotional as in you're upset and you're crying over the charity advert for asking money for donkeys. It might be that you're more snappy and you have less patience. Now, it's because of all this hormones going around, and it's really annoying and it's really old fashioned at the same time when people are, oh, hormones. Or men would say, oh, you're hormonal. Yes, we're hormonal every single day. I don't know if you can hear me clapping there, but we're hormonal every single day. Well, in fact, it just means that our hormones are actually really low. So this is why I feel like this, because my hormones are low. They're getting ready, or they've already released the egg because we've not been fertilized, and I am feeling low. My hormones are low. So this is our bleed. A little bit here on how to look after yourself at this time. So try and set boundaries, avoid stress, stay in, don't go out, have a sofa night, watch Netflix. Do something just for you. Go for a walk, listen to your favorite music. This is a time to recharge your batteries. Taking a step away from things is not going to hurt. Have time off the gym. Go to bed early. Have a day off your phone. Oh my God, that's my favorite thing to do. Put your phone away, and it's just like someone's taken the thing away that you feel like you need to check. Avoid social media. I do that most of the day. I give myself social media time throughout the month. But again, we'll talk about that on another podcast. Let's move on to spring. So spring is directly after your winter. So you're coming to the end of your bleed. It's virtually gone. We're in our pre-ovulation phase. This is when our estrogen levels start to dominate again. Our little tiny follicles in our ovaries are growing again. And this is what Maisie Hill called our Beyonce hormones. If you just imagine estrogen coming in like Beyonce, walking in this powerful woman full of feminine energy, that is estrogen. So when you've got estrogen running through your body like this, you will feel like Beyonce. You'll compared to when you're on your bleed anyway. You'll feel energized, motivated. You're interested in going out again. Your energy levels will rise and your inhibitions are lowered. So you might feel like going out. You might have said no the week before to a girls' night out, but now you're ready for it and you want to go clubbing. You want to be social. This is also great time to set goals, tidy the house, sort out your wardrobe while you've got all this high level of estrogen pumping through your body. It's time to get shit done. Your confidence is at peak here. If you're single, beginning to go out, go on dates. We even feel like we look better looking at this point in our cycle. One fun fact that's just popped into my head while I'm talking is we actually change our smell throughout our cycle as well. Like we are animals. So our smell changes during ovulation, which you might find if you do go out and you're single, more men come to, I don't want to say sniff around, but yeah, let's say sniff around. We're animals. Exercise at this time start to increase again after your bleed. So you may want to attend power yoga, go for a run, but don't overdo it just yet, or don't overdo it at all. What you need to remember is, yes, you feel good here. So self-care here is important. The more you look after yourself in your high phases, the easier the lower phases are. So don't push all month, even if you feel like you've got the energy. We are not tiny men. We do need to rest. So after spring, so around day 14-ish, is summer. This is the best time. Summer does exactly what it says on the tin. Estrogen reaches its ultimate peak and your body is ready for ovulation. We've got testosterone and LH, or luteinizing hormone. They are triggered. They increase our sexual drive. Our body is literally getting ready to find a mate if you don't already have one. You will want to go out if you're single. And if you're in a relationship, this might be your partner's favorite time too. You'll feel a burst of energy, your voice changes, you develop a bit more sex appeal, you're naturally more flirty. And this is when our looks actually change. We become more symmetrical because, again, we're animals. They want us, our hormones, body wants us to go out there and find a mate. Baby, even if you don't want them, your body doesn't know that. So leaving space in this time, even once you're tracking, making sure that, right, I've got my day 14, let's go out, girls, having a girls' night out. Maybe trying to see if there's other girls who are in the same, and the girls who are on the winter, if you've got a big girls group, can stay in together, looking after each other. As energy levels peak here, you will be more efficient in what you're doing. Maybe you can take on new work projects, fun thing to do, or very organized, maybe not so fun. If you're cooking at this time because you've got that energy, why not make a few meals, pop them in the freezer, ready for when you're in your next phase or winter. You will feel more sociable, you'll feel like talking, you'll literally, as summer makes you feel, if you're living in the UK, this is what your body will feel like. You want to go out, you want to have a good time. We then go into our autumn. So this will be the week before your bleed. So in Maisie Hill's book, she called this Highway to Hell. So some of you may start. So for me, my autumn is worse than my bleed. I'm tired. So my progesterone is high. So my body's getting ready to, progesterone is pro-gestation. They're getting ready to look after this egg that's not been fertilized. So your body's shutting everything down so that you basically hibernate. Start to feel tired, you need naps, you haven't got any energy, sensitive to criticism, you get snappy, annoyed when you don't mean to. My boyfriend knows it when I hit this time. He's sort of like, oh, week before, not in a bad way though. He's very, he has to listen to all of this all the time. So he knows exactly what's going on. So he knows, and I'll take myself away, do some journaling, do some yoga, go for a walk, have a nap. Just yesterday, I was extremely tired for no reason at all, but because I'm in my water. So that is the reason. One other plus point here is our intuition is very powerful at this time. So listen to it. If your intuition is telling you to do something or not do something or let go of something, this is what you need to do. Listen to your intuition. Have I forgotten anything? Okay, we can come back to it if I have forgotten. If you do have any questions about any of these, or you have certain symptoms that you don't know whether or not what phase you're in, or I don't know, no question is a silly question. And this is what I want to achieve again with this podcast is ask, and I'll share questions and answers will always be anonymous. But if you ask a question, there could be, say, thousands of women listening to the podcast just wanting to know the same answer, but they don't want to ask. So ask for everyone, ask for womankind. One thing I want you all to do, if you don't already, is to go away after you've listened to this podcast and track your period. There are a few different apps. I can send you a spreadsheet if you'd like to use a spreadsheet for this. If you don't like apps, some of the apps you do have to pay for. So spreadsheets are always good. For the first 6 months, I always say to track, not in detail, you don't have to write like, do your diary, today but just a list of thoughts, feelings, emotions, triggers. And then after 3 months, 3 to 6 months, having a look to see what patterns come up. And this is one of the things that I do in my coaching. So if you were my coaching client, we'd start by tracking, noting down cravings, moods, what's going on, and doing it together. It just allows us then, and I have the expertise to give you the tools to begin to deal with whatever it is that's coming your way. So, my dears, I think that's it for my first podcast. How exciting. I've just recorded my first episode. Please let me know what you think. Comment. You can get all of my details from the information box down below. Get me on Instagram, Joanne_women's_wellness. If you've got any questions there, 5-star reviews would be lovely. And I would love to have, I'm going to go for a goal of 100,000 downloads in 2 years. Let's say 2 years. So, with that being said, have a lovely day. I hope you've learned something. Please let me know, and I will see you next week.
And that's it today, everybody. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you again next week. Don't forget, 5 stars, download, tell your friends. You're amazing.